Hello guys, and welcome to another video. I know I don't really put up more than one video a week, but this is a very special video. As you may have heard, yesterday at the Anime Expo 2018, Sunrise and Legendary Pictures announced that there is going to be a live-action Gundam movie. And obviously this is absolutely huge news. I spoke a little bit about this prospect of a live-action Gundam movie in one of my previous videos when Ready Player One came out, and I watched that. And so yeah, I'll be doing this video giving my thoughts about how I feel about the new movie coming up. And some of those thoughts may be the same as the previous video I just mentioned. I may talk about some of the same stuff, just to give you a heads up on that. I'm not going to go through and check if I repeated myself, so yeah, I'll say that now. But yeah, anyway, this is absolutely, truly exciting news. I mean, I was thinking to myself, after Ready Player One, and after it had that Gundam had a small cameo in the latest Pacific Rim film, I was thinking to myself, could there be a live-action Gundam movie coming up on the horizon? I think many people thought that. But I really didn't expect anything to be announced this quickly. So yeah, that is something very much of a surprise. So let's get down to business. What do I think of all this? Well, I'll start off with talking about that actually. I mean, I know there's some people out there who aren't really happy with this news. I think there's a thing about anime adaptations, anime adaptations of movies. They haven't really been successful as of yet in Hollywood, I don't think, apart from maybe one or two. Hold on, I'm just going to get my water here. Apart from one or two, I feel that, films such as Dragon Ball Evolution and did a lot of damage, and Ghost in the Shell wasn't really well received at all, was it really? Excuse me. Yeah, those two films really weren't received well at all, so I know that some people aren't happy about Gundam having a live-action film now, which to some extent I understand completely about that. As I just mentioned, I really didn't think there's going to be a live-action Gundam movie at all for the longest amount of time since I've been a Gundam fan. Gundam, from where I'm from in the UK, Gundam is something not many people know about at all. They know very little about it, if any. It's not something which is terribly popular. So something I never expected. It's a very Japanese thing, is Gundam, but I think we all know that it has its fan base, like in the West, of course, although it is somewhat limited, judging by what I just said and my own experiences. So I never thought, in my wildest dreams a few years ago, that there was going to be a live-action Gundam film. It's something that I completely discounted. As I said, it's only when I saw Ready Player One and the Gundam had a prominent role in it, and I heard about the cameo Pacific Rim, that I started to think, oh, okay, then there may be a chance of this happening, but I really didn't think it would happen this soon. And that is really exciting. It's going to happen. I mean, as they said in the press conference for this thing, it's coming up to the 40th anniversary now of the Gundam franchise, so it really makes sense that they're making this movie now. It's the best time as any. Personally, I think it's not going to be released next year. I think that's pretty much for certain. It will be in 2020, I believe, at some point is when we expect to see it released. So we're still going to have to wait a while for this thing. As we know, there's many more Gundam projects in the horizon, especially for next year, the 40th anniversary, of course. And it's not like we'll be just waiting for that movie to come out. Well, we will be, but there'll be stuff to tide us over, which is great. So, as well as that, what do I think about Legendary Pictures working on the film? I feel very confident about it, actually. I'm not, to be quite honest, when it comes to their Godzilla stuff, which is like the last big like Japanese property they worked with, I really didn't like the Godzilla film at all. I really didn't enjoy that. But I think it's fair to say that Legendary Pictures have great experience when it comes to putting like giant monsters and giant robots onto the screen. They have good experience when it comes to doing that CGI kind of stuff, which is great. So that's definitely something which is beneficial, having Legendary work on this film. I mean, I didn't enjoy Godzilla. Like when it came to the latest Jurassic World film, I know it didn't get that good reviews, but when I watched it, I thought it was at least a very fun film. So I did enjoy that. So I do overall feel confident about Legendary working on this. They had Kel Boyter, who's going to be the producer, I believe, of this film, at the panel, and he talked about his experiences with Gundam and when he used to live in the Far East as a child. So that was good to know that he has like experience of the franchise and what it's about and that kind of thing. It's good to have someone on board who like knows what the franchise is, and also it's very important that Sunrise and Bandai are collaborating with Legendary on this. Legendary aren't getting free rein to make the project. Sunrise and Bandai are going to be assisting them with it. It's going to be a co-production, which is absolutely amazing because it ensures that, in my opinion, this ensures that we won't get the total mess that we got with something like Dragon Ball Evolution, or something that really didn't hit the right spot with Ghost in the Shell. So this is very good news. I feel that I think it makes everyone feel confident that this film is in the right hands. And from what they said at the panel, they are making sure that this movie is very, very good. The people from Sunrise seemed very, very excited indeed about the movie that they're making with Legendary. And they seemed very, very confident that this film is going to be amazing. So that is brilliant news indeed, and that gives me a lot of confidence. I hope it gives a lot of confidence to you also. Now, since this news came out yesterday, I've seen on Reddit and YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and all the social media places, people have been asking what kind of movie this is going to be. Is it going to be Universal Century stuff? Is it going to be an alternate universe kind of thing? And I feel that, personally I feel, because this is going to be close to the 40th anniversary of the original Gundam series, because you know, like the original series is like so old now, it's almost 40 years old. Even the compilation movies are over 30 years old now. It's like they need, I think the time is right to like give the original story like a refresh, not necessarily a reboot, like just like freshen it up. So I feel that it would be, I'm 70% likely this film is going to be 0079. It's going to be that storyline. I feel pretty confident about that because, as I said, it'll be the 40th anniversary. You'll have like the main, most well-known characters in the entire franchise with Amuro and Shah in there. You'll have the original Gundam also, of course. So it makes perfect sense to me that this Gundam movie will be 0079. I am quite certain of that. I think that is my number one most likely possibility. I think the second most likely possibility is that it will be an alternate universe story. It will have the original Gundam in it, but it will be like an alternate universe story. It will be its own separate thing, away from any of the timelines that have come previously. My third most likely opinion on what the film may be is that it could be like an adaptation of one of the Universal Century OVA series, so 8th MS Team, which I think could be quite a good idea because it just follows a good like war story. I think it would be suitable for people like in the West to follow and understand easily enough. But I think the downside of the OVA series like that and Gundam 0018, adapting one of those, is that they, appear a little bit into the story and don't connect fully with like the main storyline in Universal Century. So I think that's still rather unlikely, and I think the fourth most likely thing which it could be is an adaptation of one of the alternate universe series. I don't think it would be G Gundam. That would be very, very unexpected if they adapt that, that's for sure. I had a conversation with someone on YouTube who suggested that he thought it may be an adaptation of Wing. I really don't feel this will be the case. I replied that I feel that maybe Wing would have been suitable 10 years ago or even further back than that. I don't think it is now. I think that enough Gundam has came out since then that I don't think it's suitable anymore for them to adapt that. And even though people have a lot of nostalgia for it, I don't think it was ever like the best Gundam series anyway, to be quite honest. Gundam X, I guess, could be, because that was basically following the same kind of plot points that the original Universal Century was hitting on. So that would make sense to some degree if they were going to choose an alternate universe series. And it's one that people very much enjoy also, so that could possibly be an option. I think Seed is basically just like a retelling almost, isn't it, of the original series. So I don't think it will be that, and I think anything from Gundam 00 onwards is possibly a little bit too new to be adapted. So that's basically my thoughts on that. I feel that let's get into like what it could be in the Universal Century stuff actually, aside from the OVA series and 0079. They showed, I believe, at the Anime Expo, Sunrise showed off like a chart. You can probably find this online in some of the articles out there. They showed a chart with the different stuff along the UC timeline and the different series. And they picked they highlighted like a section of the UC timeline where all their new projects are going to be part of. And this part of the timeline is basically going to be, I believe it's Gundam Unicorn onwards, so Gundam Unicorn to Victory and beyond. So it will basically be that later part of the UC timeline. Even so, I still personally believe it's going to be a 0079 movie. But this also raises the possibility that the movie is going to fall somewhere in that space and time, in the timeline, which is interesting, we'll see. I was thinking earlier actually, this is like a really wild shot. I said in my last video after I watched Ready Player One, just as like a weird possibility, maybe they could make a film like based on the original Gundam novel, which Tomino wrote, which would allow them to make something on screen different from what is made before, and create something that later on, if they want to carry on the story, they can adapt how they choose, because the plot of the book is different in many places, so if they want to continue from that point they can, and they can make it how they want to. That is kind of just a wild theory of mine in my last video. I don't think that will happen, but I think another one I've came up with today also, they could do that with, I know many people really don't like this series, but I really like this series. I really like Victory Gundam. Again, I don't think it will be the choice they go for, but I would be unhappy if they chose that. I don't think it will. Don't worry if you hate Victory Gundam. I don't think it'll be their choice. But again, if they choose that, they can then carry the Universal Century story on as they wish. Because I don't think much has been created beyond that point, really. So that would be an option. But yeah, most likely, don't worry if you don't like Victory Gundam. I'm pretty sure it's going to be 0079 stuff. I mean, as well as that, you know, they've been making stuff like they've been remaking 1 Year War stuff now for a little while, for about 5 years or so. I mean, they made Gundam the Origin, didn't they? The manga series, which retold the original story. They made the Gundam the Origin OVA series, which has basically been telling the backstory of the original Mobile Suit Gundam in animated form. They have released an OVA version of the Gundam manga, Gundam Thunderbolt, which took place in the 1 Year War. So they've been doing a lot of 1 Year War stuff lately. Again, coming up to this 40th anniversary. Oh, excuse me. So yeah, again, it makes sense to me that that is going to be what the movie is going to be. So yeah, that's my thoughts when it comes to that. And now, what are they going to do when it comes to the cast of characters and the actors and that kind of thing? As you heard in the press conference, if you watched it, this thing is early enough in development yet. They haven't got any of the actors down or any of that kind of stuff. It will be interesting to see who they choose. I think, to be quite honest, they need to pick very, very good actors indeed for Muro and Char Aznavour if they do pick the storyline, which I do think is going to happen. I think that, especially in Char's case, he's such a complex character and such a deep character that they have to pick a very, very good actor to be able to portray all that. That's something that will be very, very important indeed. I think that as well, when it comes to Amuro, that will also be the case. This is if they pick 0079, of course. That's kind of like the viewpoint I'm talking about here, because I think it's the most likely scenario. People have been talking about whitewashing and like the actors they'll choose from that standpoint. I really don't feel it's anything to worry about, to be quite honest. I mean, many of the characters in Gundam anyway aren't specifically Asian, so if people moan about that, they're really moaning about the wrong thing, because I don't think it's going to be a problem at all. There's only a handful of characters that I can think of who have specifically Asian heritage in Gundam, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. Which is good, you know, right? Because it means that obviously gives like the people who make the film an advantage, because they can pick the best actors they want. They don't have to go by race, which is good. So that's a strong point. But yeah, I don't think there's any problem with that really at all. As when it comes to the director, I'm not a film buff, so I can't really speak much about this. A lot of people have been saying they want Guillermo del Toro to work on this movie, to be their main choice. I think everyone would like a really well-renowned director for this movie, of course. Being a Gundam fan, like, who wouldn't? But if that's not possible, I trust like the people at Legendary and Sunrise to pick the right director for this project. I think if they're not able to get one of those top-class directors in, I just hope that Legendary and Sunrise pick the right guy for it. I think is the main thing. And what else is there really to talk about? I think one thing I forgot to talk about just off the top of my head actually when I was discussing different possibilities. One thing that they could choose is that, I touched on this speaking about the novel, there's a wealth of material out there when it comes to Gundam, which isn't even animated stuff. There's a whole wide array of Gundam manga stories out there, which they may choose to adapt, I don't know, but that could also be a possibility. So, like I said, it'll be interesting to see what they choose. There's so much to go on. I mean, this franchise has been going on for almost 40 years now. I mean, there's a whole dearth of stuff they could pick from when it comes to creating this movie and what kind of storyline they decide to go with. So only time will tell, really. As well as that, I think like one of the last things I really have to say about all this is that I think the landscape of Gundam fandom is really going to change after this. I mean, as I touched upon earlier, like I don't know many people at all, like who aren't into anime who know about Gundam at all, even though it's such a large franchise. So with this movie coming out worldwide, people are going to be a lot more aware of the franchise and what it's about and that kind of thing. And I think we'll have a lot more fans coming into the series after this movie, even if it's bad. I feel. I think there'll be new people coming, new fans getting involved into the franchise, and I think it's up to like us old Gundam fans to, you know, help new fans who may start enjoying the franchise after seeing this movie, to help them out and, you know, let them know all the good bits about Gundam and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, because this movie is going to be the first thing they see, most likely, of Gundam for, well, ever in their lives, or maybe for the first time in a long while since Wing or something like that. So it'll be really good to have a lot more new fans in the community. One thing as well, I don't live in the UK anymore, but back home it's really difficult to find Gundam stuff, like in anywhere really. Most of the stuff you have to buy online. So it'd be really cool to be able to find a lot of merchandise and that kind of stuff in the UK and in other countries now, which you wouldn't have been able to find easily before. So that's something I'm very much looking forward to. So yeah, I hope I've explained to you all my thoughts on this movie and how I feel it will turn out and all my different thoughts and opinions on it. I'd love to hear your opinions down below. I think this is a very exciting time for Gundam. I'd like to hear your thoughts and opinions on the upcoming movie. What are you hoping from it? What are you not hoping from it? What do you think will be bad? What do you think will be good? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. So yeah, see you soon.